Luca Nation, episode 685 of Lucas Tigers and Bronze. We love you guys. Thank you for tuning in. Thank you for bearing with me as I've been traveling. Hope you enjoyed Jimmy from Kentucky Sports' episode yesterday. I gotta tell you, Cage. He talked about a lot of macro principles, so to speak. Doing good in the hobby. Being charitable, giving. It reaffirmed a lot of the things I see you do. So from that standpoint, I know it's funny, but dude, it's
I just didn't know where you were going.
It's awesome to have you as a co-host. It's awesome to have you as a business partner on this journey. Just about everyone from the card space and a few people from the NFT space here at VCon have been asking about you. So, I don't do this enough, but I wanted to give you a quick courtesy of, there's no one I'd rather do this with. So.
Oh, listen, I will tell you, squaring up with Chuck Liddell, and guys, take a look at some of the pictures from Andrew from the weekend. That's pretty cool. I was expecting you to get a head tattoo, a little tattoo on your head, like him, square up. That's a cool thing. And then, you're working with Mealy Pops, Jamil, who was at a table next to you, and Slab Stocks guys, the card guys kind of rallying all in one little area together, which is pretty cool. And I see Mealy Pops got a Chuck Liddell signed Prism box, like a box of cards. It's pretty sweet. It's cool stuff.
What's cool about that is I didn't get a chance to meet Mealy Pops before. It's more proof, and I talk about this all the time. I always say the internet's not real. But it's more proof that you got to get out of your house. You got to go and do stuff. Over the last 2-3 years with COVID, we kind of got conditioned to sit at home, and we think we experience life through our phones. But in reality, it's not the case at all. The people everyone's been incredibly friendly. Everyone's
it's funny.
Awesome.
It's funny you went. I brought up Jamil thinking you might, right? So we'll get to the PWCC stuff in a second, and just some amazing cards, and we'll get there, guys. But it's funny because we didn't have a chance. This is the first time we're talking today. We didn't do a prep. We didn't even chat. We were on for 30 seconds, and I said, "What time are you coming home tomorrow?" This way we can.
Gage, it's the first time I'm sitting down today. My shins feel like I'm getting shins.
We could talk about your auctions in a second. We could definitely talk about Vee Friends also because it's a very polarizing topic. With you out of pocket, I tried to answer some messages today, and we'll get to that in a second too. I don't know if you saw some of those, but we'll get to that in a second. But more importantly, I wanted to talk to you about this off. But you know what? This is what makes our show a little different than everybody else's. We can have our conversations, we're sitting at a bar, we're sharing a couple of beers or whatever it is we're drinking or smoking, and everybody gets to kind of be involved in our conversation. It's part of what I think, makes it a little bit different and what people like. But Jamil and Mealy Pops, that's the guy who was embroiled in the Pokemon, fiasco. And you have never met him. You've never spent time with him. I've done Mealy Pop Madness with Ian. He has sent packages of free cards to Ian, so I know that he's a good guy. I've met him at the National. We chatted there. And, just know generally speaking the business. I don't know anything about the Pokemon stuff, right? So I'm not going to comment about that. But, going into this, I said, hey, you get to sit up next to, Mealy Pops. You're selling Vee Friends. What's he selling? You're he's probably selling G.I. Joe, And it's funny because behind the keyboard, right, we're all keyboard tough, and it's we don't know these people, but now you spend some time with them, right? And you're probably this is a good dude, right? It's very different.
Well, I'll give you an example. So what we did, it was kind of interesting. And by the way, all the backlash about Vee Friends.
We're gonna get to that. We'll get to that in a second. We'll get to that.
But what we did was pretty cool. So we were selling product, and we had Vee Friends cards, and we had Vee Friends signals and Vee Friends wax. And just over the last 24 hours, our booth has been popping. And one of the people I'm here with, I came with my sister, her best friend Faith, and then Yodi, who's from Florida. And we did this kind of live auction, which was kind of cool, right? So we ripped a box of wax, and then whoever was there, one person or 20 people, and because of kind of the vibe, more and more people poured in. It was like that. It was like the Michael Scott The Office, 100, go. Once I see anyone in the back, 100, go. I say 200. Do I see 300? Do I see? So we did literally an old school live auction of the singles, but we poured in because so many people were there. There was probably 100 people by the end of it today. We did it yesterday. People knew it was coming today, so there was more people. we were spilling over into Mealy Pop's booth, right? Our booth was where auctions were, and then people were paying and doing the transaction by Mealy Pops. So we were all up in their space. And I apologize. Like, dude, I'm so sorry. It's like, dude, no big deal at all, man. Do what you need to do. No, like, hey, you're encroaching on my territory. He came over and he was excited for what we were doing, even though we were the ones making money and not him.
Well, maybe there's some overflow. Maybe some of those people moved over to his table and maybe picked up something. You never know.
It depends on the attitude, right? If it was more contentious, it might not have worked as well, right? It's like when you have a graduation party for one of your kids in your backyard and you don't have fences like you do in Long Island, and it spills over into your neighbor's backyard. They could be like, hey, get off my lawn. Or they could be like,
get off the lawn.
This kid is playing. Who cares?
Yeah, Mr. Nevercracker. But
and just to add to that, Mealy Pops flew out today at 4 p.m. to the Dallas show. Think about that. He was here.
So
Thursday.
Is that because is that because the show is kind of ending and winding down, and you're going to do it just because you have stuff, or is it because the show wasn't so good for card guys? Was it more NFT lean?
This was planned from the get. So
I know the rest of his crew was in Dallas.
Right. He got here Wednesday, got here early. Thursday did the thing. Friday we set up for the first time. Today was a full day. And then he rolled out. This was planned from the get. It was just, dude, it takes a lot to be successful in this business. You have to go a little bit above and beyond. You have to take chances. Even though this wasn't a card show, they came prepared. They had comic books. They had video games. Maybe it wasn't the most sales that they've ever done, but what was cool about the conference and the people there was, dude, I didn't see a single fight. I didn't see a single argument. Everyone was so willing to learn. It truly was collectors. Like, I know we frown on NFTs just because they're so new and maybe they took away from cards, but that's not what I saw at all. I saw people who are collectors who just don't like sports. So they wanted other things to collect. To them, Gary is so much more exciting than Luka Doncic. I know that's crazy to hear for a lot of people, but it's just the reality, Cage. Yeah. And this isn't one or two people. This is, I think, up to 10,000 people were there. And I have beautiful Luka cards. Luka's the talk of the town. No one gives a crap. No one cares about Jordan. They love Gary, and that's like their Luka. And it's crazy to some, but it's the reality.
And you definitely
sold
some Vee Friends cards.
No different.
You definitely sold a whole bunch of cards. I mean, guys, take a look at, the stories from our podcast. I mean, it's just the crowds are nuts. I mean, there's a lot of people there, a lot of stuff. And I think you've stumbled onto an idea. Maybe we'll pitch this to Gary because he's got VCon coming up again next year and the year after. Maybe we'll do a Vee Friends live auction for him. Maybe that'll be part of what they do for VCon next year. I mean, obviously, just auction off Vee Friends. That's it. Maybe by then there'll be a series 2 of the cards.
And I know this is gonna shout out to Rips, man. Rips is what, he's like 19 years old. He set up basically he planned a lot of the flea market. He got a lot of the card people there. Like he did an amazing job. He was around the flea market all day long. He was shaking hands, making people feel good, asking them, do you need anything I could help with? So just awesome people all around.
Well, and I mean the people you sold these cards to, they're probably not going to be flipping them on eBay. And what's funny about that is there's been a lot of talk on Vee Friends. There's been a lot of talk on the cards, right, about how the boxes were $10,000. And then, they started 2, then they were 10. Now they're down to 6. You sold the box for 8. The cards are selling for a lot of money. And maybe some of the original stuff was shilled. Who knows? Maybe some of the stuff wasn't paid for. Maybe some of the original prices weren't, real. But there's now a legitimate floor being set on a lot of these cards. Some of them are 101s. They will probably never see the light of day again. Some of them are out of 2, out of 5, out of 8. These people are paying, hundreds of dollars for these, and they're locking them away like they lock away.
People are willing to spend $2,000 on a card or $1,000, or the commons are about $500 to wait in line for 4 or 5 hours for Gary to sign it.
Correct. That's what it is. Anybody can get Gary to that's kind of the an avenue people haven't thought of, right? You go to the East Coast National, right? You can sell common cards of Islander players for 50 times what they would otherwise sell for. Why? Because the Islanders are sitting there signing autographs. So what's worth a penny or $2, you could sell for $5 because somebody's going to grab it and say, oh, they run around. Hey, who's got a card of Brandon Moreno to sign at Mint? You know what I mean? Who's got these cards, right? And this is a Gary card.
You know what's amazing, Cage? Yeah. And this is, again, a testament to you, because you're not just really intelligent and understand the hobby, you're also good at explaining it. So I pull up the Bird Magic Irving card, because a lot of people ask me, they say, hey, should I buy that 1 of 1 and get Gary to sign it, or should I buy a common? And I say, guys, let me tell you what's interesting. So when I was with you, I thought buy the 1 of 1 and get it signed. But actually, what I've learned is, let me pull something up. So I pull up on card ladder, I pull up the PSA 10 Bird Magic Irving card in a PSA 10. How much do you guys think it is? Some people say, I say 100. Some people say 200,000. Say 800,000. They say, wow, that's crazy. Now I say, how much do you think this card would be if it was autographed? they say 100,000, 300. I say 20,000. And it blows their mind. They can't understand it, right? And I couldn't either. We had that conversation August 2020. I don't remember the exact episode, but that we talked about it, because I was like, how does that make any sense? Yep. And it's true collectors like things, I guess, unaltered. Yeah. So what I say is get the 1 of 1 for yourself, or get a 2 of 5 for yourself, and get a common for Gary to sign. It will add value to the common, but it won't add value to the 1 of 1.
I mean, these are people who are willing to wait online for hours to shake hands with Gary and have 10 seconds with him. I mean, this was the place to sell that stuff. So it's, I mean, good on you and Yoni and the crew. Hope your sister and a friend had a good time there. I was fielding, comments about how it's ridiculous, and I was trying to explain to people exactly what you just went through, in the comments, in our DMs, like, this isn't just, it's not fake. It's like, listen, you can mark up for Whippets at the right concert, right? Drug prices are more at a Fish concert than they are somewhere else. You could charge more for your drugs at Grateful Dead concert. It's the same thing.
People miss the bigger picture with Gary. They really do, because
he's like Gary, a cult leader.
Sure, but he also provides opportunity, right? Because we don't know who met at this event that's going to go on to start the next Facebook in 25 years. We'll only know that in reverse, right? But what he does is bring like-minded people together. He brings ambitious people together. He preaches what? Patience, kindness, tenacity. All of these characters are what he wants the people that are standing in line waiting for him to sign autographs to be about. None of them are dickhead donkey or right?
No,
or
I would buy
asshole.
That one. I'd buy that one.
There's actually a troll one. There is a troll one. It's actually kind of hilarious.
Angry troll or something like that, right?
Yeah. No, they're all alliterations. Like so tremendous
tidy.
trollers.
It's tidy. It's tidy, right? I think it's a clean troll. It's like a tidy troll, I think.
Right. So like, and think about my sister and her friends. So my friend, she.
Why do you go from tidy troll to your sister's friend? That's not nice.
I'll explain why. Because yesterday we did the episode with Jimmy.
Yep.
Okay. Right. And while we were doing that was when they started auctioning the cards off. So think about that. None of them had any experience selling in a flea market style, right? They were just meant to like watch the case. And the excitement I saw in their eyes and the way they were telling me about it when I got back, they were so excited that they were able to sell things, right? And think about that skill. My sister's not a natural salesperson. She got a corporate job at SAP at a college. She's a marketer and a creative. But like now you could see it, man. She has so much more energy. Today she's talking to everybody. She's out there networking. This is a 21, 22-year-old girl. So like, just the experience that this has provided for a ton of people, both from I'm going to go and watch Gary speak, or I'm going to go watch Logan Paul speak, or Jeremy Padawer and Buster speak. By the way, the panels have been amazing. So from the consuming of knowledge to the interacting with people and networking to the putting your skills to the test. So like, there's a lot of things you can't learn in college. And I think people should look at the bigger picture, not just Gary, but more of the community that he's built. It truly is a special thing.
I need to know one thing, and then we'll get into the PWC stuff. Is everywhere you go, like every 10 feet, every 20 feet, is there like a station with blueberries? Because that's what they need to do. Like there should be like, you can't go more than 10, 20 feet without running into like blueberries. They should just have blueberries everywhere.
No, and this is a testament to Gary.
Yeah, blueberries.
He's very I don't want to call him frugal. He doesn't come from a lot, so there's not a lot of food around.
Oh man, you need food. Come on
No,
now. You
there's
got
not a
White
lot of
Club
food.
John on stage. You gotta have some food.
No, there's not a ton of food. There's only one coffee station, and then the line's 45 minutes. But I went to the front and I said, "Hey, I'm a vendor. Like, people are gonna steal all my inventory if I have to wait for 45 minutes. I
You
need
cut the
this
line.
now."
You're that guy. All right, that's
Dude,
it.
there was 100 people in the coffee line.
Did you cut the
I
line to the
can't be.
bathroom too?
There's no lines at the bathroom. There's plenty of bathrooms.
Okay.
There's not a ton of coffees, like places to go get like a quick cold brew and breakfast in the beginning. But then figure
How's the
the rest out.
kombucha in Minnesota? It's good.
I haven't drank it in a while. Dude, kombucha's got good like reset for the gut.
Yeah, I need that.
Dude, I don't know if you guys get that. I get very bloated when I fly.
Eating a lot of red meat. Made some steak. I was so nice yesterday. I went out on a barbecue. I was barbecuing a little steak. Yeah, made a little dinner.
You've been eating really healthy, and you feel better, don't you?
I'd have to check my phone, but I definitely did over 10,000 steps today too. Took Ian on the last walk for about an hour just now. This is nice house. A little warm. It's like get the air conditioner on weather soon. Get the pool open. My fat ass. As much as I've lost, I'm still. There's plenty to go.
The good thing about you is your face is never like you can't tell by your face.
Oh yes, you can. If you look back, definitely. There's definitely moon face syndrome. There's definitely like.
You think so?
Yeah, 100%.
Do you want to talk about the SGC 5 versus the Mantle 5? Because I have been showing that thing too. Because people do know the grading companies, whether you're a card collector or not.
Yeah, we definitely.
They ask about PSA, SGC. How do you know when to set? People have been asking about grading companies because they buy some of these cards and they're asking where to send them.
Well, I mean, listen. Right now with vintage, eye appeal is the key, right? So and so I think you saw SGC and lower grades with more eye appeal actually sell for more on the PWCC Premier this past Thursday. But the one that really is like an apples to apples comparison was a Mantle. Was it 5? It was a Mantle 5 in both SGC 5 and PSA 5, and they were both with the PWCC eye appeal, the same level of PWCC eye appeal. So it wasn't one was eye appeal and one wasn't. We talk about this. We talk about it on our collectible show. We talk about it in the PWCC show also. Eye appeal
in a way double graded, right? Graded once by the graded company and then.
Yeah, well, it's sort of like
PWCC.
The eye appeal is like within the grade, right? Like you could have a 5, and you could have a 5 that really looks nice. This is what that is. It's like there are 5s that are really off center. I happen to have a 5 that would not get an eye appeal grade. My 5 is off centered, right? So it's definitely a 5. It's got great color, great registration, great corners. But
what
the
is
center
registration?
It's just basically how it's what you think. It's how the card registers. It's how it looks. It's the coloring on it, whether or not it's got like any kind of like blurriness in the card and that kind of stuff. So it's just the overall look of the card. So yeah. Anyway, the SGC 5 with the eye appeal outsold. Sold for more than the PSA 5 did by I think it was like $25,000-$30,000 more, like 180 to like 150 something. So it's interesting. That doesn't happen that often.
I think people are sick of the charades, man. I think people are sick of waiting for 18 months for their cards. I think they're sick of overpaying for grading. I think they're sick of the upcharges. I truly do believe that. I think the market's getting smarter.
What it comes down to is on a card like that, vintage baseball, where people know that SGC has legitimate graders for those cards and has been grading baseball cards, vintage baseball cards for a long time, that they're not going to knock SGC to PSA. And if next to each other, the SGC of the same grade looks nicer than the PSA, people will pay more for it. That won't happen with BGS or BVG. It won't happen with any other grading company. But for vintage baseball, people know that an SGC will sell. Like it doesn't knock the thing down. As a matter of fact, you can argue this auction is one of the examples that it may actually, it definitely doesn't hurt. It may help. In this instance, it helped. I think the SGC card was I believe a nicer looking 5. I would trade my 5 for it. I'll tell you that much. It's definitely a nice 5. And that's part of the kind of the conversation, right? Not every 5 is the same. Not every 6 is the same.
Can I ask you a question?
Yeah, sure. Shoot.
You own this card, so you're allowed to be as biased or unbiased as you want to be for this question.
Uh-huh.
the PWC, the Michael Jordan PSA 10 Fleer,
Mhm.
artificially propped up or not?
Not anymore. You know what I mean? Like it's now at a point where I think Lameem James, hey, it stays between 250 and 300 is actually wrong. I think 240 is basically the low point on it, and there are enough people who will come in and buy that card up to 240. There's one ending on Golden tonight that bid is 190 right now. So one more bid, it goes to 240 with the buyer's premium. So it's not at it yet, but you'd think it would get there. I may even bid on it myself. I think there's enough people out there who view that card as that's about as low as it should go. I don't think it's artificially
See, this is where, and I love this, guys. I honestly want to learn. I asked this question out of curiosity. Like, when you protect the floor of your own asset, what is that called? Like, what is that ethical? First off, what do you guys think? Let me know in the comments. And second, what is that called? Right? Because the people that own this card are wealthy, astute investors. Like, no one is buying this.
Right? I mean, they're buying it, right? That means that they're willing to pay it. So, whether the floor is by a new person buying the card or it's by somebody who values the card and values their own,
right?
It's the same thing as stocks. It's the same thing as anything else, right? If you, if you own a position in a certain company and you're like, I own enough of this. It's a bargain now when Apple falls below 100 or Disney's about to fall below 100 again, which is, where it was almost 200 this year and, it was 190 or whatever it was.
And the stock market.
And you say, I know that stock.
Disney's
I know it's going to go eventually back up. When it hits 100, I'm putting in a buy. I'm putting in, like a limit order. I'm putting in, if it hits that, I'm setting like a stop. So I'm going to go in and buy in. People do this all the time. And, banks
it's a good
do
comparison.
It all the time. So, no, but
banks who get free money from the Fed.
I just think that, that card at that price now, people have seen that it was at 7 and change, which is, I think that was kind of like silly, but it was 4, 5, 6, whatever. And now at 2, I think this is, it's now hitting, the low water mark of where it's going to be for its next leg up. I really do. And obviously I'm biased, guys. I own one. So
you're allowed. The question was for you to be biased. In a lot of ways, we
but I'm not rich, man, and I don't own 10 of these. There are people who do own 10 of these and won't let it fall below where it is because that the same as somebody who would say, all right, I'm going to make the next one bid for 400,000 because I have 10 of them and I want to make it worth 4 million, is not going to let it fall below the number that it's at now because they own 10. You know what I mean? Like,
answer me this too in the comments. I'm curious your take. Is it a sign of a healthier market, or does it matter if a new buyer comes in to buy that card versus the same buyer? Obviously, we can't know, but does it matter for the health of the market at all if it's a new buyer versus an old?
I don't know, man. That card is 318 of them. You would expect after it runs like that to come back down to earth the way it has. It hasn't collapsed the way that like Kobe's cards did or LeBron's cards. I mean, think about it for a second, right? At the time that one Jordan sold for 700, let's just say 730. It was an amazing copy, but I don't care. Let's just use 730, right? The LeBron base was $40,000.
Right.
The base chrome, right? So the LeBron base chrome is what now? 7?
Yeah,
you know what I mean? 7. So it's one call it 1/5. That's fine. So 1/5 of $700,000 would be $140,000. So it hasn't fallen that much, and it's because there's only 318 of them. There's way more LeBrons, even though it's an expensive card. The population, the supply does matter. You know what I mean? There are enough people who own these who didn't come out and sell them. People who own them at 25, 40, 50, who aren't going to sell them now. You know what I mean? They're definitely not scared to sell it now, and so that's when a floor happens. Most people who bought the LeBrons, you know what I mean? They were buying them higher than where they are now. That's not the same for the Jordan.
How come people don't feel that the LeBron is a collector's item? How come people who own that LeBron Topps Chrome, how come people from the outside feel that LeBron Topps Chrome is like an investor flip card?
Well, because it's a commodity card because there's so many of them. But if you
is there really that many?
Yeah, if you look at a card like the BGS 10 refractor, right? That's not a commodity card. That's a card that that I would say has probably been swept up in the whole the Topps Chrome is not a good card and the whole 9 yards, right? It's it's one of those cards. I think there's 30 something of them in BGS 10, not the PSA 10. I'm talking about
Touche.
BGS.
2,200 just PSA 10s of that. So
Yeah,
and then probably the equivalent in BGS 9.5.
Right. I think there's less than 3 dozen of the BGS 10, right? And that was one that would be, a lot of money. I think it's come down to like, 80 grand or something like that. Not that that's like nothing, but like, that was a card that was huge, well in over $100,000, the BGS 10. I think it's, there are cards that, you're going to start to see the lower pop ones. Kevin Durant has been beat up, but the white refractor in PSA 10 or BGS 9.5 even, that card's numbered to 99. You know what I mean?
What if I told you the BGS 10 had a sale just in March 26th for $16K?
What the BGS 10 of what? That's just the base.
Not the base, yes.
I'm talking about the refractor.
But the base was as high as 74 in BGS 10.
Yeah. But even that, there's not 2,200 of them, but there's more of those.
Yeah.
Right? The Golden has a BGS Black Label 10. Anyway, so the point is, there's a lot of sales. I think some of the ones I'm talking about just ended in PWCC's Thursday night, and you can see they're starting to level off. That LeBron Chrome, the Durant out of 99 white refractor. These are cards that they were up, they were down. But if you look at the overall chart for the last couple of years, you could take out that crazy bump up, and they're back on their way up. They've hit the floor and they're going back up. I think Jordan, you might see, is kind of in that range also. We'll see. Obviously, sort of wishful thinking there, right? So
it's anecdotal. I got a chance to spend a little more time with Sasha T, Chris Costa, those guys. I think everyone now speaks so highly of the tech and how easy to use PWCC is from a bidding standpoint. Just like from a tech and looking at cards, like how girls get together, like my sister does this, like shop for clothes on Lululemon together.
Yeah. Well, I don't know how they do that, but yes, I assume you're correct.
The guys, they go shopping for cards on PWCC. It's like a fun experience is my point. It's fun to go and navigate and look what cards are for auction, what's in the vault, what's fixed, what's weekly, what's monthly. So I just wanted to give a kudos, not from even what cards are selling, but for just how easy and how fun the experience to find cards is on there.
Listen, I love PWCC Tech. I think it's great. We've talked about it a couple of times, but the app is real easy to use. I love the flash feature. You can get some bargains in there. People are able to just flash their stuff in. And guys, what that means is even if you don't make the deadline for the weekly auction that ends, Sunday night, as long as you buy Wednesday and you have your cards in the vault already, you can just hit a button and boom, they're in that following Sunday's auction. If you're looking to buy, just click that flash in the top there, and you'll see all the items that were flashed into this. And you're talking about some nice cards that got flashed into this one also. You got Power Buyer, which is one of my favorite features out there, because you basically, how you could scroll for days to find bargains? They're finding the bargains for you. It's basically cards that are not bid anywhere near what the appraisal value is for that card. When it comes to auction, they say this thing is worth 10 grand, but the bid's only 5. Boom, it's going to show up in your Power Buyer search. Those are things.
Does it tell you the number of cards that are flash auctioned in?
It tells you the number that are on flash. Yes, if you pull it up, it tells you how many.
So if you guys want to be next level, I would track that number, because it's a really cool way to have a pulse of the market and to see, how, if the seller is, a little more panicky, if there's less panicky sellers. It's really interesting, because if you track that over time, I think that number will tell you a lot week to week.
I think it was last week there was something like 1,500 or 1,400, right? I remember giving the number. This week is 2,306 items have been flashed in, or that's how many there are, because there's 2 auctions available. But I
love it, and I think one data point, it is what it is. But if you track this over time, I think it gets interesting. You can start watching patterns of when to buy, when to sell, because what I imagine is, hey, kids are finishing high school, the kids are finishing school. Summer, college, parents, you want to go on vacation. You need some money.
Pay for summer camp.
Right?
Yeah, that's nice 5 figures right there.
So let's talk about 3 to 5 cards, and then we'll kind of...
Sure, it's difficult. So number one, if we're going to just try to limit these things, number one, there appears to be a 1986 Fleer basketball PSA 10, almost like a set break in here. So we don't have to specifically go to all of them, but like there's a ton of cards at PSA 10. So it looks like
break. Someone had the set and then a selling
correct.
The set.
And I don't know
they
if
broke
it's
it individually.
Cajun Cardboard's whole set maybe, but
Gotcha.
during the premiere, the Kareem sticker sold for like $200,000. There's a Kareem card. There's other stickers, the Magic sticker, the Bird sticker, you name it. Some really, really amazing cards in that set, right? So the Dominique Wilkins, which is really rare, double-digit pop, less than 100 of them out there. That's only sitting at $10,000 right now. The Barkley rookie is in there. It's only 5 and change while I'm looking at it now. The Ewing rookie is in there. Clyde Drexler rookie is in there. The stickers of Julius Erving PSA 10. There's just a ton of PSA 10. It is an iconic, if not the most iconic basketball set because it's headlined by Jordan. But guys like Spud Webb, our favorite, who we got to talk to, right? His rookie's in there. There are some low pop ones, right? Gerald.
Can I talk about Barkley real quick?
Shoot.
I think he's so undervalued. I think we love him as a player, and I think the only thing against him is that he never had the championship. You know what I've noticed? He's a pioneer. He pioneered the whole athletes doing podcasts and TV. I know it was a little bit, but not to the magnitude it is now. If you guys go on the internet, there are so many athlete-run podcasts where they interview other athletes, and it's just a different perspective. Like athletes used to go on shows that are like run by like Scott Van Pelt, but like how much could a common man really talk to an athlete about, right? But these like a veteran to a player currently playing, I'll put my head on blast. Like I think Charles Barkley is a pioneer in that space, and I think we're only going to realize that in 5, 10, 15 years, maybe.
You may be righter than because Barkley's he's endearing now. People like him, but for someone like me, he was the heel. Yeah. You know what I mean? If Hulk Hogan was the wrestler that everybody liked, the Iron Sheik was the one that was his nemesis. They even made a cartoon where the Iron Sheik and Nikolai Volkov, were the bad guys, and Hulk Hogan was there with Macho Man Savage and I think Wendy Richter, and like the whole crew, right? Believe it or not, Chuck would be like the villain. He'd be the heel to Jordan. And, while everybody was out there drinking their Gatorade and singing they want to be like Mike, Charles Barkley was telling parents that he's not the kid's parent. He's not a role model. He doesn't want to be a role model. Don't look to me to tell you what to do. I'm not Mike, basically, right? And that's tough to hang your hat on, right? From a investment standpoint, from, an advertisement standpoint. But, that was a long time ago. And now he's pretty damn bankable. He's funny. He's got a great rapport with Shaq. He does the games well. So I think you're right. I think he's one of those guys that, the legacy over time, even off the court, is probably going to, help his cards and his value. And his card right now, I mean, it's definitely in the power buyer, and it's definitely a bargain. We'll see whether or not it
even just relative to other cards in that set. I think comparatively, it should be higher. Like
yeah. No, I love it. Listen, just real quick, because we talked about vintage cards with eye appeal and other vintage cards. Number one, there's a 39 play ball Ted Williams rookie PSA 4 with the PWCC E designation. It's PWCC sticker. That's the top 30%, I believe. Real nice card. The centering is always bad on these. It's got very good centering, so it's definitely one of the nice ones.
Good centering.
Yeah. And a lot of these they're not centered well. This one's good, especially for that card. Most of those are off centered. This card. You like that card. I love this card also. Ted Williams, we talked about him on our show a bunch of times. This guy just doesn't get the love that he deserves. Part of it is because the cards from the 20s and 30s are just basically ugly. The Gaudy set is the huge exception, but the 39 play ball, it's just, it's got no color. It's kind of blurry, but it's Ted Williams.
It's black and white, right?
Yeah, sort of. I don't know if it's black or like some other type of like grayish, but yeah, it's pretty much a black and white card. But it's Ted Williams rookie card. It's it is the card for Ted Williams, and it's in real nice shape. There's also a really awesome SGC 5. I like these cards personally better than the T206. They came after, so T206 is 1909. The T205 you would think it would come before, but the T205 actually is from 1911. It's the gold border tobacco cards. I've shown you my Christy Mathewson one. I think I have a 3, but it's just really cool gold border. There is a a really nice Ty Cobb in an SGC 5 in this weekly auction. Nice gold foil. They're very hard grades because that gold foil chips. Think of like a scoring king, but 110-year-old scoring king. You know what I mean? Like, it's just one of those cards that, like, you know, the foil on it is going to be difficult. You know, like the 93 SP Jeter card, you know? But this card really looks nice. It looks real nice.
Guys, leave us a comment if you're like me, and I kind of want to not just pick your brain, because we'll do an episode. I want to learn about the history of cards. Let us know in the comments if there's a guest that kind of comes to mind that really understands the history of cards. Like, right, like Jimmy yesterday talked about a word I can't really remember. Do you remember? I'll go back and listen to
reclamation.
Yes.
But that's just the time. That's just the time period. You know, because he was saying like cards have been around since 18. He said they're collectible since 1980. They haven't been collectible that long. They've just been around since that long. In the 50s,
1860s.
Yeah, the Cincinnati team card. It's like 1864 or something like that. I think is when the first. It's like acknowledged as the first baseball card.
I love history, and if you guys could let us know in the comments, I'll reach out to someone if you have a recommendation, because I'd love to learn a little bit more about that.
Leighton Sheldon would be awesome. We had him on already, though, but it'd be cool to, you know, see somebody else, you know, who might know some vintage stuff. So, you know, getting into more modern stuff, we got the 80s. 1979, I'm going to ask you about this. Why is Maradona, I'll say it wrong, soccer's GOAT? Right? Is it Pele, him? Does it matter? Is it 1-2? Is it like Ronaldo and Messi now? Tell me why he's great. And, you know, I'm going to say, I'll let Andrew talk about him, why he's awesome in a second. There's a 79 Panini, I think Calciatore, PSA 9, card number 312. There's only 110, and there are 14 nines. This is one of 14 nines. You'll get an opportunity to buy a Maradona card, a rookie card, in this higher grade that often. And this weekly auction gives you a chance to buy it. This is, you know, potentially premier worthy.
I'll say 3 reasons. So here's the first simple one. So this is anecdotal. I'm at the show and I sold 2 cards, sports cards. Everything else was Vee Friends cards. It was a Jordan card and a Maradona card. So that's number 1. Okay. Number 2, it was Pele versus Maradona. You know, those are kind of remembered as the 2 greats. Garrincha, Cruyff, all those guys, all incredible players. They're all, in terms of like history, like Mantles, Roos, all that. I would say kind of like Pele, Maradona, or, you know, Mantle, Ruth in this sense, even though they didn't play against each other.
Okay.
And I think third, and I think there's something to this, winning on your own. Like, I think Luka is the most valuable current modern day basketball player in terms of like comparing him to Trey, Ja, Zion, that class, not LeBron and Curry, but like these young guys, because the perception is that he won or he wins on his own. Whether that's true or not, it doesn't really matter, right? The perception is that World Cup that Maradona won was on his own, you know, on his own will, on his own talent, on his own skill. When you compare that to Pele, if you look at the cast around him that he's played with, it's insane. It's like the players he's played with, you would call them Hall of Famers.
Yep.
Maradona played and won. Perception, remember, perception and reality are 2 different things, because everyone at that level is incredible. Everyone that plays in the NBA alongside Luka is incredible. But the perception
except in the you know, when Bob Cousy played, then they were all just plumbers.
Well, can I touch on that?
No.
I think people. Oh, okay.
No, you can. You can.
Well, obviously, Bill Russell, Chamberlain, who are the other guys? Like, who are the other guys you mentioned? Cousy. There's Oscar Robertson, Elgin Baylor. Those guys are incredible. But that's one guy on the entire team, and he's making what was like maybe like $400,000. The rest were making no money, and this is the way I put it: 1 through 3 in that era, 1, 2 were incredible. 3 through 10 were okay. Now in today's day and age, 1 through 8 is incredible. Like Tyler Hero would be better than any of the role players back then. Tyler Hero would be a superstar MVP player. So it's just the depth. It's not the, you know, okay, Bill Russell's amazing, Will Chamberlain's amazing. But what about the other 9 guys on that roster?
This guy, you know what that he's saying? He's just whistling because what you're saying is just bunk. Listen. Athletes have gotten better. I mean, Usain Bolt would probably beat everybody in the 1936 Berlin Olympics, I mean, we can't do that though. That's not the way things
Maybe
work.
other than Jesse Owens. Maybe
he would
right?
beat the shit out of Jesse Owens too.
Right.
That's not that, but that is what you're trying to say. I mean, to say that Tyler Hero should be mentioned in the same name as like Elgin Baylor and that kind of stuff, it's like insulting. It's kind of silly, to be honest.
Well, I'm not comparing the best versus the best. I'm comparing depth. I guess I'm comparing the more depth of talent than. Yeah, Will Chamberlain might dominate today.
Yeah, and George Mikan dominated then too because the only person who was 10 feet tall. But that's not the point, right? The game evolved, right? People's physical abilities evolved. I mean, anyway. It's a conversation for another day. Let's get to the card. So you're on soccer. I'll keep you on soccer. Tell me who Eusebio is.
Eusebio, I believe, is a Portuguese player, but he's not as renowned. Like I would throw him in like the vintage category. Who's a good comp? He's not as well known. I'll just put it that way. He's a very good player.
I only asked because one of the two cards, things I want to mention that just struck my eye. PSA 8. I'll take it. Unitas. 63 Panini Calciatore. PSA 8. Pop 1 of 3 with none higher. Eusebio. Near mint 8 in this auction. But then we'll swing it to another one. Do you know the 2010 Panini Gold Standard 24 karat Kobe Bryant autos? You aware of those? So I guess it's a 15 card set, 15 different Gold Standard 24 karat. There is a whole set in this weekly auction. It's currently bid at $17,000 for all 15 autos, all encapsulated in BGS holders. I don't think I've ever seen this set together, and somebody has completed the set of all 15 of these, the 2010 Panini Gold Standard 24 karat Kobe Bryant auto set, and the whole set's for sale with one bid. I mean, it's basically $1,000 and change per Kobe auto, and these are pretty cool looking cards. Have you ever seen these?
No, I'm trying to pull it up.
All right, take your time. 2010 Panini Gold Standard. If you go by highest right now, as we are talking, it's currently the highest priced item in the entire auction. And while Andrew's looking, I'll talk about a couple of other ones just so we can get them in there, guys. Neither of us are going to talk with any authority about hockey. There's a 2005 Upper Deck Trilogy Sidney Crosby rookie out of $9.99 in BGS 10 pristine. That's a numbered Crosby rookie, also BGS pristine. So there's obviously not a ton of those. So that's one to take a look at. And another cool one, not auto, but a 2005 SP Game Used Triple Michael Jordan, Kobe Bryant, LeBron James patch out of 10.
What an interesting set.
Cool, right? So let's go back to that because I have never seen that set together. It's definitely shiny. That's true. It's definitely shiny. But
this is tough,
cool, right?
Well,
they also have 24 karat on the side. They kind of like 24 karat gold. That's 24 karat Kobe Bryant. Like real different coloring on each one of these, different picture on all of them. One of them looks like, you got the gold jersey, you got the purple jersey, you got different parts of his career in here. It's almost like
it feels like a through the ages, right?
Yeah, like a tribute to Kobe kind of set.
This is him in high school. This is him.
Yeah, Mel Marion. Yeah.
I guess this is him winning dunk competition. This is him winning a championship. This is him aging. This is still Froby. This is really cool, Cage. This is him winning his first championship. Wow.
And I mean, what's real nice about it is it looks like only one of them has a 9 auto. Every other one, so 14 of 15 have 10, like BGS 10 Kobe autos. Like, that's pretty cool. We talk about how it's not like he's the rarest auto in the world, but he's also not the most common auto in the world. And clearly they're not making any more of them. So, it was just a cool thing to see in the weekly. There are several items here, again, we said this last week, that could qualify for Premier. This is definitely one of them. What a cool grouping, right? I'm surprised you didn't see it. With all your Vee Friends money, I figured, you'd be the top bidder on this one. I shouldn't have said anything. You could have stole it.
No, that's I like Gold Standard in general. Like I like the product. I don't think it's as appreciated as it might. Like I think it should be for its design. Like I've always liked the Giannis Gold Standard rookie card as well.
Yeah, I think that's a really nice auto. Also, the Gold Standard, 1996 Michael Jordan SPX. Do you know this particular card? To me, this is a cool card just from a historical perspective because it's it's one of the first autos that I remember. It's like a trade card. You know what I mean? You got this. So if you take a look, 1996 SPX, that was a cool like die cut set. It's like an oval with like kind of like squared edges. That's how they came in the pack, and the whole thing. Every card was like that. It wasn't like just this card was die cut. All of them were. And this is an autograph, authentic auto with a 10 auto Jordan on card with a cool hollow. PSA Pop 1 of 6. There are 7 graded higher than this one. Just a real cool, Michael Jordan autograph card early, while he was playing 1996. He's got a lot of cool 90s inserts. This is a cool 90 insert that's numbered. It's got a little serial number on the back of it. It's a pretty cool card.
Can I tell you about a dream I had? This is going to sound freaking
sure.
crazy.
Let's hear it.
I had a dream that Upper Deck got acquired / I got a chance to meet Michael Jordan at a show and convince him or find a way to get him out of his Upper Deck exclusive deal so we could get some contemporary modern day Jordan products in, whether it's Panini tops, and get some more common day autos. I think the market needs it.
It's an interesting dream. Maybe you saw a post. Maybe you saw the post about the fake Jordan logo man that's on eBay with the authenticity guaranteed. That's pretty funny. Maybe that got in your brain. Maybe that swept in. But anyway, from Andrew's semi-lucid, chemically enhanced dreams back to the data, one of the really cool cards of a guy who I don't think gets as much love as he should, just because he had some off-field antics, and because Raider fans like myself are supposed to hate him. The 1998 Topps Chrome Refractor Randy Moss rookie. It's got the Mike Baker sticker on it, but it's a PSA 10 gem mint. I mean, obviously everybody knows this is one of the dominant receivers, well-known all-time receiver. Sells for basically a fraction of what quarterbacks sell for. Just a really, really nice card. And it's one that I remember looking at this card myself, the refractor. I'm pretty sure there's like 100 and something of this card, 130, 150, something like that in the PSA 10 range for the refractor. But I think it's funny you pull that one up. That's not the card I'm talking about, but leave that one up for 2 seconds, okay? I'm talking about the actual Topps Chrome Refractor, the rookie Topps Chrome Refractor, the actual one. But I was going to talk about this one next. Good job, dude. The one I'm talking about now, the bids are under $2,000. Who knows what it's going to end at? But this was one that in the peak last year was selling for like $8,000 in like March of 2021. It was 5, 6, 7, 8. Like, take a look at like the PSA website, the card ladder, the sales, the whole 9 yards. But the one you pulled up is really nice. That's the Bowman Atomic Refractor, numbered out of 100. Yep. Right? So, there weren't a lot of cards being numbered in the 90s, but that's a 1998 rookie Randy Moss, numbered out of 100 on the back in PSA 10. Really nice, the Atomic Refractor. Cool card.
There was a panel talking about collectibles at VCon, and they talk about 25-year cycles, right? They talk about how you collect your heroes when you have disposable income, right?
Yep.
And I know he was drafted in 98, but for some reason he feels more of like a 2000s type of guy.
Well, because he was with Brady, like you're pairing off with those that 17-0, 16-0 season.
I sort of feel Randy's time is coming. I think he's a 2025, 2030 type of play, just because my generation and maybe a little bit older, a little young, but like my guys, we remember him. We remember him mooning the crowd. We remember his antics. We remember his athleticism. And I could see Randy being an interesting 2025, 2030 play. So
one last card to go through, and then I'll let you take us home. I think in 25 years, when people are looking back at, at the cards that were the ones that everybody was breaking, the nostalgia of crazy breaks, what was everybody going for? What was everybody yelling about? This particular set and this person's card are going to be the one that is going to be one of the poster children for this crazy time that we're going through now. And in a time where most sets do not even have player worn, the flawless cards are actual game used items. So in this auction, there's a 2020 Flawless Prime Ruby LaMelo Ball rookie patch auto out of 15. A real nice card. Game used LaMelo rookie. I don't know what LaMelo is going to do. I don't know what his legacy is going to be. Obviously, people love him. He is the one that people are chasing in this flawless product. There's a few of his cards in here, but this particular item, real nice patch, 3-color, has the Hornets blue with a little purple, a little bit of white, like the whole 9 yards. Looks like a letter, a little bit of white behind it. Real nice patch, real nice autograph on it. It's not graded. It's still in the flawless, one touch. It's out of 15. Let's see what number. It looks like 7 out of 15 I'm looking at now. And yeah, I mean, I think there'll be more value placed on that particular card and that particular set, flawless, when everybody looks back and says, well, why would I buy this jersey? Why would I buy this one with a T-shirt in it? Why would I buy any of these? Would you pull up a Mike Tyson?
Well, I was going to pull up the Ruby LaMelo, but the last 2 tabs I've opened, Cage, I found 2 cards I love in that like little scrolling thing.
Yeah,
Gold standard.
the scrolling is awesome, right? The scrolling is fun.
It's incredible. First off, PSA 8, I don't trust you. You've been just all over the map. But these 2 last cards, they were in the scroller. That 2 cards I've never seen and 2 of my favorite people. First off, Mike Tyson. Don King.
2 of your favorite people.
And Maxi. But, dude, do you know Jamie Foxx is making a Mike Tyson movie?
I did not.
Mm-hmm. And I'll pull up. Guys, I apologize. I'll pull up the Ruby LaMelo right now. But my point was that both of those cards were like a few $100. So, I know we cover cards, in the thousands here. But what's amazing is there's incredible deals and opportunities with this card right now is at $86. It's a BGS 9.5 Mike Tyson Don King card, and that's a cool card. I don't care which way you slice it.
There's plenty. Look, there's a 2018 Panini Select Josh Allen Silver Prism PSA 10. Looks like the field level silver, $330 last bid. I'm looking at the scroll as you pull this up. That's a sick card. $330. Forget about it.
Right.
But yeah, that LaMelo is cool, right? Look at that jersey piece. And that's game used. So interesting stuff. I also, before we close this out, the other set break that looks like it's happening now, a lot of the Premier had like the Chansey, which sold for a lot of money. Blastoise sold for a lot of money. The first edition PSA 10 Pokemon. There's some really nice ones. Magneton, sitting at like $5,000 or $8,000. I paid like $20,000 for mine. Ridiculous, Hitmonchan or whatever. There are some really nice Pokemon cards in this one. There's a Skyridge Charizard, Crystal, which is really a nice card. I think, that's definitely a 5-figure card all day, every day. But there are some really nice Pokemon. There's there's an Alakazam with the thick stamp, Gyarados. There's a Magneton. I think there's an Ado King in here, and they're all the bids are pretty darn low. So take a look, and if Pokemon is your thing, the weekly auction looks like somebody breaking up a set and throwing it in there. So take a look.
I'll tell you guys, I think Pokemon is not my thing, but what it seems like is the sleeping giant that wakes up every few years. That's what I feel like I've noticed from this Pokemon community. I don't know if Cage will agree, disagree, but that's my take on it.
We'll see. We shall see. It's definitely the number 1 brand in the world. So,
Luca Nation, thank you so much. If my one take from being away from home, and I'm a homebody, I'm an introvert. You guys know that is getting away from getting from out from behind your computer or your phone and going and interacting with people in this space. All you guys in Dallas, I hope you're having an amazing time. We love you. Bye, Luca Nation. So thank you all for listening to another episode of Lucas, Tigers, and Bronzo My. I wanted to tell you about a new service that we have starting as of today, and I'm really, really excited to bring it to you guys. So as a part of our partnership with SGC, we got 50 free submissions every single month, and many of you have taken advantage of that. And it's amazing that we could have the opportunity to 650 episodes, 675 episodes in, to go ahead and give back to our community. As people were sending those cards in, they asked, can we send 5, 10, 20 more cards to you guys? We'll pay for it, but we wanted them graded with SGC. You guys know SGC is turning cards around in 13 to 14 business days, have incredible customer service, and their secondary market values are going up day after day after day. And that's exciting for the hobby and exciting for the grading landscape. So we didn't want to just rush into it. We wanted to do it right. And what we did was I relocated here to Boca Raton, Florida. I opened up a P.O. box maybe 5 minutes away from SGC, and I will be hand delivering and hand picking up the cards. So you don't have to worry about anyone else touching your cards. It will be me, and I will update you every step of the way. So here's how it's going to work. I'm going to personally pick up the cards from a P.O. box, prep them, new card saver, new penny sleeve, and deliver them to SGC every single Tuesday. Why Tuesday? Well, it lets the stragglers over the weekend come back through on Monday and gives me a day to prep, and it basically gives SGC the entire week to work on grading those cards. Once your cards pop, only then at the end of the process will you be paying for the service. It's $25 per card, simple as that, and the turnaround times have never been faster. We're hearing right now 13, 14, less than 20 business days. So there it is, 9170 Glades Road, number 135 is the P.O. Box in Boca Raton, Florida, 33434. 9170 Glades Road, number 135, Boca Raton, Florida, 33434. Of course, you could shoot me an email or shoot me a text anytime, and I'm always available. Many of you already have my email. It's iamandrewgoldberg@gmail.com, or my cell phone number, 215-519-9154. Reach out with any questions. I could walk you through the process. I've hopped on the call with quite a few of you, and I'm happy to do that. Love you, Luca Nation.